3D Pocahontas Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you a 3D Pocahontas nail set. So it's got Pocahontas on one and then what I think of as the wind on the other. I absolutely love this little set. I couldn't think of something that was part of Pocahontas' outfit that I thought would go very well on the other nail, which is why I went with what I think of as the embodiment of wind on the other one. So I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and please stay tuned. In about a month from now I do have a huge surprise for you guys that involves all of these Disney princesses I've been working on. So check back for that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I began my Pocahontas nail with an overlay of a shimmery white acrylic. As I've said in all of my Disney princess videos, I use the same background color on them, and you'll see why. Then I applied a clear layer over the top of that background to secure it, to make it nice and strong. So here is that layer of clear acrylic. So just go over the top of the whole thing to smooth it out, just like so. And then after you have that done, go ahead and file the nail into shape with your e-file. I started out with a coarse bit to remove any bulk, and then I'm going to switch over to a finer bit to smooth out the surface texture. Go over it like so. And then I'm going to begin with a beige acrylic and sculpt Pocahontas' head, neck, and shoulders. So just start out with that color and sculpt her head. So on all of these nails, I started out with just like a bust of them. And I did, on Pocahontas, I didn't quite have the right color of acrylic to sculpt her top. So instead, I did that with gel polish later. So instead of worrying about doing it with acrylic, if you don't have the right color, you can always paint on accessories and clothing with gel or with paint. So there is her neck, and unlike a lot of Disney princesses that have a unrealistically slender neck, Pocahontas has a bit more of a real appearance, so her neck isn't quite as thin as some of them. It's kind of funny when you go through, and I don't know, if you're like me, you grew up with all these characters and you don't really think of them in a anatomical sense until you go to start sculpting them, and then you're like, wow, this one has a really weirdly skinny neck, or holy cow, this one has really big boobs. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that's just kind of that's just the kind of things that roll through my head as I'm sculpting these characters, because you kind of start to dissect them and really look at them as people, I suppose. Each of their little elements. So now I'm going to go through with black, and I'm going to be adding her hair. So just take and do small sections of black acrylic at a time. I recently had somebody ask me what steps I take to prevent a dark color like black acrylic to stain, or prevent it from staining a lighter background color like this shimmery white background that I have, or a pale yellow or pale pink or whatever it may be. And the best suggestion I have is, one, to work with really wet acrylic, because it makes it a little bit more really wet acrylic in the sense that it's not going to take a lot to move it, and then you can hopefully clean it up easier, but not so wet that it's going to spread out away from what you're trying to work on so that you have to clean up extra. I hope that makes sense. But to try to, figure out that consistency where it's really easy to manipulate, but not so fluid that it just goes and goes everywhere. The other suggestions I have are not really that helpful, but if you can, work on top of gel sealer or gel top coat in the background, because that slick surface will prevent the staining. And the other thing would be is if you do end up with a stain that you really can't live with, if it's really just, an eyesore, you can take a buffer block or a little file and just buff off that little stain, because it's just on the very surface, so it doesn't take much at all to get rid of it, and that can definitely help. So after I have all of her hair down, I added her ears, and now I'm going to be painting her dress on her. And I have kind of a caramel color gel polish, and I didn't even have the gel polish color that I wanted, so I ended up custom mixing this one to get the right color. It's funny how you need a certain color for something and then you don't have it in any product, which was kind of the situation I was running into. Then I'm going to be adding all of the details on her with acrylic paint. So you're going to want to add details to her dress, the little bit that you can, add details to her. I added a little bit on her collarbone. You're going to want to add her outline between her chin and her neck, outline around her ears. You don't really have to outline her hair per se, since it's black. You wouldn't necessarily want to add more black outlines, but with brown paint, I did go through and start sketching in her facial features, adding her eyebrows. You can always go through and darken features if you want to, and with her I definitely will, but it's a lot harder to go through and lighten them if you, put something in and it just ended up being too heavy looking. So then I'm going to take and add a little bit of burgundy to her lips. Just a touch, nothing too crazy. And then add some teal. I have like a bright teal color. I added some teal highlights in her hair. Add some white in her eyes. Just like so. Not too much. You don't need to exaggerate her features anymore. A little bit of black on her eyebrows to darken them up. Add some black on her lash line to make her look... It depends. Most of the Disney characters, I would say all of them with the exception of Merida, have very heavy outlined eyeliner style lash lines. And then I'm going to take and just do a little bit of teal, and I'm going to be adding her necklace going across, just like that. And then adding a little bit of highlights in her eyes. Finishing up details here and there and just going through and adding, and you can take it and be as detailed as you'd like, or you can, simplify it. Here's where I'm adding those aqua highlights in her hair. I said that a little prematurely, but I knew it was going to happen eventually. So here we go. Add those just a couple little streaks of that teal color in her hair. It's really weird to highlight black hair. Typically when you highlight a hair color or highlight anything, you just use a lighter shade of that color, which in this case it would be using gray. And when you use gray to highlight black, it makes it look really old, which isn't our intention. So a little bit of teal definitely makes her hair look very bright and very shiny. Then apply a layer of gel sealer over the background, cure that, and matte top coat over Pocahontas. And then for the dress nail, since as you heard me say before, I didn't have exactly the right color of her outfit. So instead of doing that with colored acrylic, I just did a layer of clear acrylic, and then after that nail has been sculpted, I took and filed it into shape with my e-file. Just same process that I did with the first nail, a coarse bit to remove any bulk, and then switching off to a finer bit to just smooth out the surface texture and make sure that it is really easy to paint on top of. And then after I have it done that far, I'm going to take that color that I mixed and I'm going to be applying it over the nail. And if you guys are curious what I mixed to create this color, I used Madame Glam's Perfect Yellow and Bang Bang, and it was probably like a 2-to-1 ratio of Perfect Yellow to Bang Bang. Then with brown paint, I'm going to be adding some swirls and some little leaves going across the nail. So I wanted to kind of create sort of an essence. If you look at Pocahontas's outfit, she doesn't really have too much intricate detail on it. Most of the older cartoons don't. It's more in the newer Disney films that they have so much amazing detail in their clothing. So the older ones don't have so much of that. Obviously, technology wasn't there to make the animation as seamless as it is today. But I wanted to create something that definitely seemed to speak Pocahontas to me. And it was funny, when I showed this nail to my husband, he looked and he goes, "Ah, you made the wind," which is kind of what I was going for. So I thought, hey, that actually worked out really well. So I had a couple little swirls going across as if it's the swirling wind, and then add some leaves here and there throughout. And I just did all brown outlines for this. I didn't want it to go over detailed or too crazy, kind of to stick with that whole era of when Pocahontas is from. And just add little outlines of leaves here and there. It does not have to be a symmetrical design, or it can be. I didn't really have a plan in place when I started this one. I wanted it to keep kind of with the whole process of, just the wind taking the nail. So I just kind of went for it with it, and I really like how that turned out as well. So I'm going to apply a layer of glossy gel top coat, and that is it. I hope you guys like it, and here is a Melody Minutes.
She's coming. She's getting ready. Good one. It is her toys. Is she gonna come get it again?
She likes to chase it. Nah.
Oh, I dropped it. Here you go. Good job. Here's another one. Give it to Kimmy. Good job. Another one. They can have a couple more. Here you go. It's okay? Okay, give it to Kimmy. This is why Max is so fat. Here you go, Cammy. There you go. Okay. Can you give that one to Cammy? Can you give it to Cammy? Or Max? There. Good job. High five. No, they're all done. They're all done. They're all done. You did a good job. Can I get a high five? Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my design as well as that cat-themed Melody Minutes, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!